Okay, guys, what I want you to do is go ahead and take a look here at these two fractions I have here. And if you look very closely, you'll see that there is a fraction inside a larger fraction. Okay, so we have a fraction in a fraction. Over here, we have the same thing. We have a fraction inside of a fraction. Okay, and if it helps you, you can like draw parentheses around it to help tell what is what. Okay, parentheses are just to help us see. It's not going to help us actually solve this problem. But I want to bring your attention to the fact that fractions fractions are division, right? Fractions are division. So it looks like we're dividing by a fraction. We're a fraction that's dividing another number. I'm going to give you a second to think about how do we divide fractions? What do we do? What do we do when we're dividing fractions? Maybe it'll help to think of the problem like this. 1 divided by 2/3, that's the same as saying 1 divided by 2/3 this way, right? That's the same thing as what this is. Numerator is here, denominator is there. Division is a fraction bar, same thing. We could rewrite this problem as 8/9 divided by 6, right? So now we have a whole number dividing by a fraction. Okay, so quick recap on how we divide by fractions, right? Maybe you've heard the term keep, change, flip, keep, change, flip. We divide fractions by timesing, right? We times by the reciprocal, okay? So we need to make both of these numbers both of these numbers fractions. So I'm going to make 1, I'm going to turn it into 1/1. I'm going to turn 6 into 6/1. Okay, so hopefully you remember keep, change, flip. We're going to keep 1/1 the same. We're going to change the division sign to a times sign. And then 2/3 will flip, right? Keep, change, flip. This is what's known as the reciprocal, right? And when we flip it, that's the reciprocal. So now we have 1/1 times 3/2. Okay, let's do this part before we multiply as well. So keep, the 8/9 stays. Change, the division becomes times. And then this is flip, keep, change, flip. So this becomes 1/6. Okay, so once we realize that a fraction inside of a fraction is just fraction division, right? And then we know that fraction division is really keep, change, flip. Now we're doing fraction multiplication. The question is, how do we multiply? Well, we just times straight across to get our answers. All right, straight across. 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 1 is 2. You can leave your answer as 3/2. Right over here, 8 times 1 is 8. And 9 times 6 is 54. Right, 54 here. Okay, and we can do what with this fraction, right? 8 and 54 are both divisible by the same number. We can reduce it. Right? We can reduce it. I think not only does 2 go into both of these, but I think 4 does as well. Does 4 go into 54? No, it doesn't look like it. Let's try that again. Let's divide these both by 2. So 8 divided by 2 to reduce. Right, we're going to reduce 8 divided by 2 is a 4, and 54 divided by 2 is 27. Right, so the greatest common the greatest common factor there was 2, which is what we're dividing by. Right, so it looks like our answers are 3/2 and 4/27. All right, so let's try a couple of more problems together here. A couple more. I want them to be. 5 and 6. All right, let's try 5. 5 is 4/5 over 10. This one's crazy. We have 2 fractions in here. Right? If you look at that problem, we have 2 fractions. Okay. So my suggestion here is that we rewrite this horizontally, right? I'm going to rewrite this as 4/5 divided by 10. And instead of just writing divide by 10, I'm going to make that 10 over 1. Okay, I'm going to write that division problem just this way. Okay. Now over here, I'm going to write the two fractions. I'm going to make it 1/4. Remember, the fraction bars divide, so fraction divided by 7/10. Okay, so there's that. Remember, when we divide fractions, keep, change, flip. So this one stays the same. Keep, this changes, so from division to times. Remember, when we flip, that's what's called the reciprocal. So the reciprocal of 10 over 1 is 1 over 10, right? All right, now what we need to do is just times straight across. 4 times 1, 5 times 10. 4 times 1 is 4. 5 times 10 is 50. 4 over 50 we can reduce. I think both numbers can be divided by 2. Right? 4 divided by 2 is a 2. 50 divided by 2 is 25. Looks like this fraction is 2/25. Let's go back and try this one over here, right, when we're dividing these two. Keep, change, flip. Fraction divided by fraction. First fraction stays the same. Keep. Dividing becomes timesing, right? Change. 7 over 10 flips. The reciprocal is 10 over 7. Okay, so now we have 1/4 times 10⁷. We're going to time straight across here and here. 1 times 10 is 10, and 4 times 7 is 28. Can this fraction also be reduced? Yes, yes it can. Right? We can divide both of these numbers by 2 again. Right? We can divide them both by 2. So 10 divided by 2 is a 5, and 28 divided by 2 is 14. It looks like 1/4 divided by 7/10 is 5/14. Right? It's 5/14. Okay. These are our examples. I'm going to put a couple of problems up here for you to try, and you will need to bring these with you to our first or to our next virtual day, or sorry, to our next live day. Next day you're in person with me. Bring them to class. All right, this is what I want you to try. Problem 1. Problem 2. And problem 3. All right, let's go ahead and try these 3 problems. Remember, I want you to bring these answers with you to your next live day in the classroom. All right, good luck.